All right, how's it going, everybody? I'm back. Yes, it's been a while. Sorry. Since I did a podcast, I know it's been nearly 2 months or something. Yeah, time just got away from me. I can't even remember when the last one was, but I know I went to Bangkok for 3 weeks or Thailand. I was in Samui for a couple of weeks on holiday, and then I came back to Bangkok, did another show, then I came back and I had another job going on here in Hong Kong. Twice a year I did this magazine for the Hong Kong Jockey Club. So been very busy. Yeah, but the magazine is winding down again now, so way more free time. So the podcast will be back in full throttle, and it's a bit of a new time slot as well for you guys. I know, a little bit different. Normally I do nighttime in Asia side, but we're trying the morning here. It's 11:32 in Hong Kong. Beautiful sunny day outside. Too hot. That's why I'm wearing a vest. Sorry, don't mean to flash these pudgy arms, but I have been outside walking my dog earlier. Very sweaty, cooling off in the aircon here. And I'll be going up to the roof later for a dip in my new swimming pool. I say swimming pool. It's not inflatable. It's I don't know what you call it. It's like a cheap plastic one you put together. Not that cheap. It's about 1,000 Hong Kong dollars. So put that together yesterday evening. Had a quick dip before the sun went down, and then I'll be going back in this afternoon. I think it's lovely, lovely weather for it. Maybe break out the grill. But anyway, enough about me. How are you all doing? Yes, we got news to talk about. So today we'll be talking about One Friday Fights 120, which is coming up on Friday, of course. Not Thursday, not Saturday. It's Friday Fights. We talk about that. One of the big stories there, obviously, Itsuki Hirata's return to One Championship. Some thought she might retire. She fueled those rumors herself after her last fight, which was last summer, I want to say, in Bangkok, Impact Arena. She suffered a shock loss to Vic Souza. Yeah, she contemplated walking away from everything. It's not been a great few years for Itsuki, all considered. But yeah, she's back tonight, or sorry, Friday. I've not woken up yet, have I? Bit out of practice, bit rusty with these. Yeah, she's back on Friday. And then we're also going to talk about the latest news, the update on Christian Lee, and of course, some fallout from my interview with Kiamran Nabati, which has caused some waves. First of all, though, before we get into it all, I want to say like the video, subscribe, all that jazz. Become a member if you really want to help me out. I promise, get more of these coming together. My plan is to do more of these. I know I've said this before, but I'm ready now to do more daily morning shows. Morning is a lot better for me. It's really tough at the moment to do night shows because I have a gym I've been going to the last 4 months or so, and I get back home about 9:15, 9:30, and I'm just gotta eat some food, shower, and then I'm too tired really to jump on a stream. But yeah, morning is okay. I think we can do more daily updates. So hopefully that time zone works for you. And then again, I do have a baby that's going to be born very soon, and I might be staying up quite late and being nocturnal. So the night shows could come back then. So don't change your calendars, your schedules just yet. Who knows? Maybe we'll mix it up a little bit. But I'm also going to go into the chat, say what's up. How are y'all doing? Official Lewis, one of my members. Yes, if you really want to help me out, please become a member. It is mostly about supporting me so I can pay my contributors like Giuliano, who helps me out on location during fight weeks with the video content. Hoping to do more interesting video content when we're out in Thailand. Every little helps. Appreciate guys like Lewis. And what's up to NG? We are so back. Yes, we are. We are definitely back. Hope you are going to enjoy the show. We'll get into it. Do 45 minutes, an hour, who knows? See what everyone's up for. I'm just also StreamYard. I use StreamYard. It's got a bunch of new layouts and things, or features, shall I say. I'm trying to explore those. I know you can add comments on screen. I had that last time. I've forgotten how to do that. I'll try and remember. I'm a bit out of practice. Yeah, there's all these new buttons and there's a whole new layout in the back end here. I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, there you go. Let's at the top of this. There we go. So your comments will go on screen as well. So don't say anything too rude, too naughty. I'll have to delete the comments. Keep it respectable is all I say. But what's up, NG? DSBV27 says, first time here. Love these One Friday Fight shows. Wondering if you know anything about Harling Om. Well, good to see you here, DSBV27. Hope you like it. Hope you stick around. Do I know anything about Harling Om? No, I do not. And I'm just going to Google now. No idea. You tell me. You tell us. Tell us. I'm going to call you D. I don't know what's the nickname. DSB, shall we say? Harling Om from Myanmar. I figured with the POY group, who is, of course, one of the managers, agents, what have you, for a lot of the Burmese left-wing fighters who are coming in to One Championship now. So I think Harling Om is gonna fight soon, I imagine. Who knows? Is it this week? Let me check. It could be this week. I will get up on Instagram in a minute. But yeah, you tell us about Harling Om and we will look into it. I've enjoyed some of the recent influx of Burmese fighters. Yes, we'll be fighting this week against Jurai Ishii. I know Jurai Ishii from Japan. Should be a tough test, that one. Let's see what happens. Yes, and also there's a few more Burmese on this card. Tanzin returned against Ging Sanglek. That fight was meant to happen last week, but Ging Sanglek was ill. And also, I think there's another Burmese fighter this week. I can't remember. I'm just looking now. Yes, So Nong U. So, yeah, always fun to watch their progress. Yes, we'll get into the card in a bit. Ram Kaki saying, yo, Nabil versus Nabati, is this possible to heaven, bro? Yeah, I'll talk about Nabati in a bit. Who knows? I've got some thoughts on that. Chummy Boy says, hey, hello yourself, Chummy Boy. NG says, we always knew Nabati had a mouth on him, but he was good friends with Nabil. I don't know what's with a switch up. I think he's being respectful. You know, if you watch the video, it's all respect. But he says to the effect, you know, Nabil is the champ. He deserves it, but he can't be the real champ until he fights me, and we'll see what happens. Guns out with the boys. Exactly. Big Will. Story of the fight. Another of my members. Good to see you. Yeah, it's hot out here in Hong Kong. Sweltering. That humid, the wet heat is horrible. Trying to cool down. You think if I wear sleeve things, they just get so soaking wet. I change about 3 times a day for several months every summer, and you shower 3-4 times a day. So I'm trying to wear this breathable Lululemon gear, which typically in standard Nick style, I took these in to get altered maybe 2 months ago, something like that, and then went back to get them a few weeks ago finally, and the shop had closed. Not closed, but they were renovating the store. So where the hell are my items I left with you to alter? They were bringing up because it's a size L, but obviously too long for me because I'm quite short. But I need the L for my fat body. So yeah, after a few emails, phone calls, texts, I tracked it down to a different outlet of Lululemon, and then they didn't have it. So tried another one, and then they finally got back to me and said, yeah, we've got it. Went and got it. So I'm loving it. Very breathable. I wish Lululemon would sponsor this podcast, but they do not. But if they want to, and you know anyone who's watching for Lululemon, I would love to get some free gear. But yes, sadly not. No sponsors of the podcast. What's up with that? Do they know what they're missing out on? Anyway, Anonymous says, I saw you at Friday Fights 118. I turned around and suddenly saw you being escorted to what I assume was the media section. Anonymous. When was that? That was 2 weeks ago. Yes, I was there. What time was it, Anonymous? Was it after? I think I did a few interviews on that show. It could have been before or in the middle of the show or after. I spoke to a few fighters. Yeah, you should have said hello, Anonymous. Please feel free. to, unless you want to remain anonymous. I guess the clue is in the name. But I'm always down to say hello. There's always a few fans every show who come and say hello, take pictures. I loved it. I'm always happy to chat. You know, it's great to have fans who support the hard work we do. But yes, I hope you enjoyed the show too. I spoke to a few there: Logan Chan, Kajiro Shiba, Otis Waghorn, Warapon, Rifteen Mastor. Always a good time. Friday fights. I will be back there first week of September. But yes, feel free to say hello if you see me. Haggerty versus Nabati probably says. Tony Valley, any news on DiBella versus Prajanchai rematch? Well, Tony, I do know something about that, but I'm not at liberty to say it or report it. Take from that what you will. I think, yes, or I don't want to say anything. I can't say anything, but things are moving certainly on that front, I would say. I would expect that fight to happen. Let's just put that out there. I know that DiBella was a little bit down, and then there was the confusion with Alif and Prajanchai maybe happening. That is still in play from what I know, but I'm confident, yeah, DiBella and Prajanchai will fight. They will unify the kickboxing belts. It's not all doom and gloom there. There will be an update, I think, quite soon on that. When does Nabati return? Anonymous asked. That will be February 2026. His suspension ends because his 12-month ban for multiple banned substances dates back to February this year when he fought Ferrari Fairtex, knocked Ferrari out in, I think, the second round. That fight was overturned to no contest. Both guys, it's worth noting, failed tests. Ferrari for a much smaller offense. I think what he failed for was a pre-workout. You know, those things that jack up your caffeine, your heart rate to 1,000,000%. So it was less serious. Nabati's stuff was way more serious. I can't remember the exact substances, but they were not good. Yeah, pretty naughty from him. Worth noting, Nabati said he did not know those substances were on the ban list. You can read my coverage of it in Bangkok Post. Just Google it. We might get into it later. Christian Lee leaving one championship. I can Lin us. No, Christian Lee is back. We will talk about that soon. He has, I think, got a fight booked. So stay tuned. I can Lin. I met Nick in Tokyo, AV Mills says. He was very nice and didn't bite much. Oh, yeah. Was that I met someone outside the stadium when I was taking a video or something of the line. Was that you? I can't remember who it is. Please jog my memory, AV Mail. I did meet a few people out in Tokyo, but it was such a busy whirlwind, especially that fight day. But I remember meeting someone in the queue. I was taking a video of the merch line, and then yeah, we had a chat. And I think I'd met the same person before at another event, maybe in Denver. I hope that was. If it was not, please remind me our interaction. But yeah, I'm always down to take pictures. It was the weigh-in for the first Tokyo Takeru Suplex. Okay. Gosh, you're taking me back now. The weigh-ins for Takeru Suplex. I don't even remember that. Was that at the hotel? Yes, it would have been, right? Good gosh. I don't remember the weigh-in. My mind. Yeah, that was also a busy time. I'm trying to remember. Oh, I remember now, roughly. Yeah, hopefully you have a picture. You can send me. I'll put it on screen. But yes, it was nice to meet you. I hope I came across well. I was a little bit cranky back then. So I had it was my first event with Sports Kita, and a lot of things have been changing. Actually, I was going freelance. So sorry if I was not at my best, but I hope I was nice. Please say hello next time you see me. Come back to Tokyo in November 173. We'll have a chat. Yes, that was a good show. Always, yeah, I always love meeting fans. I met some some cool fans last time in Bangkok. Everyone's always very nice. I don't think I've had anyone, no haters have come up to me and been mean, which is good. I don't think I could handle it. That's why I don't like covering UFC. Some people ask me, why don't you do UFC? Well, one championship is my thing. I'm the one championship guy. I hope. But also, one championship fans are mostly, I find, respectful to media. Not sure about fighters, but some UFC fans get on the media really badly. And, if you just for reporting news, you can say, oh, this fight is going to happen, or this person has done this. And then you get the brigade army of which fighter all on your back, calling you names, this and that. It's not much fun. Nick, the nicest guy at events. It's crazy. I try and be story of the fight. We had a good time as well in Denver. I was meeting up. I met up with them, Will and Ramiro. It's a shame we were supposed to be in Denver again a couple weeks ago, but the event was moved, obviously with Stamp and Denise with Stamp's injury. It's a shame. I had big plans. I was going to go to New Jersey and watch Man United win. Sorry, they were playing at the MetLife Stadium, friendly. I got a good friend of mine who lives in New Jersey, so I would have caught up with him. Would have gone to Denver, of course. Then I think I would have gone back to New Jersey for SummerSlam. I'm a big wrestling fan, and SummerSlam was at MetLife, 2 nights, doubleheader. But yes, alas, the America plans got ruined. Hopefully we can go back next summer. That's the plan at the moment for Denver. Just got a fingers crossed. Everyone in One Championship World that Stamp comes back. Her knee injury is a thing of the past. She doesn't have any more issues when she fights Kana in November. God, we got a lot to talk about. I've missed a lot of fight announcements. We'll try and cover everything. But yeah, Stamp will return. I'm looking to interview both Stamp and Kana about their fight, and Superlek and Yuki Yosa. I put out a request for a lot of interviews today. There's going to be a lot of content coming, guys. I'm back. I'm ready to go. The magazine is done. So I'm free again to really crank out some content. Okay. I will eventually get into what I want to talk about. I'm just enjoying reconnecting with the chat here. The comeback would have been sick. See you boys next year. Yes, NG, a shame. Hopefully we'll see you there translating as well. It would have been cool to catch up. All a shame. But, I think there's some good news coming soon from what I hear. I don't want to be too obtuse. I don't want to be... from what I've heard, there's some big events coming or are close to being agreed. Obviously, we know Japan, November 173, but I think there is, and this will tie in with Christian Lee, we'll get into in a bit. My dog is barking, sorry. Maybe we can talk about that now. Yeah, Christian Lee has, we'll start with that. Oh, Molly. Sorry for Molly, she's very vocal. Christian Lee posted an update. He's been pretty, how do I use this? There it is. They changed the whole layout on StreamYard. I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, she's really going for it. Don't know if you can hear her, but how do I do it? Share screen. Okay. I'm trying to figure out the new StreamYard. There it is. Have you got that on screen, guys? Can you see my Instagram? I hope so. I posted about it. Back in business. The message was simple from Christian Lee. The double champ says he's back in business with a fight date seemingly set for his return to the circle. This was a social media post that Christian himself put out, so I was just recycling that. He's not competed. The 27-year-old warrior has not competed since a no contest in his December 24 lightweight MMA title defense versus Alibeg Rasulov. The eye poke, unintentional, brought that to an early premature end, shall we say. Lee told the Bangkok Post in March, when I was with him in Tokyo, he was there with Adrian Lee, obviously, who fought in that card, or Saitama, should I say, not Tokyo, just outside Tokyo, that he was going to do the welterweight belt next, but that was March. I don't know what is going on. They might run it back with Rasulov. I don't really see a clear welterweight contender given the Kyrgyzstan Issei Fitikefu fight fell through recently. You could jump straight to Soldich. I'm sure Chatri would love that. He pays Soldich very well. You might as well get something out of that. Soldich would love that, of course. Could be Lee versus Soldich. But yeah, I would expect, as El Chubador says here, 1174, and I did an eyes emoji. Yeah, I would I'm hearing some rumors, yeah, some noise of a new arena show. And I don't think it's going to be Tokyo that Christian Lee lands on. Japan isn't really the Lee family market. I think it's more if you got Christian Lee, Angela Lee, Adrian Lee, I think they're better off not Bangkok, not Japan. Those obviously one's two biggest markets, but the Lee family made their name in the early days of one in Singapore, and then in other countries like Malaysia and Indonesia, Manila. I think that would be a more suitable place. So I'm trying to make some hints to you guys. There might be a show coming up, so we'll see. I can't say much else, but I would expect Christian Lee to make a defense of one of his two titles in the not too distant future at a big arena show. Can I say much more than that? I don't know if I can. But yes, I think something is signed or close to being signed. I'm certain it's not Tokyo, because that card is almost full. Almost full. I want to try and pivot to let's have a quick look. Yeah, we're quite far away from Tokyo, but it's almost full. Superborn Noiri, Rugrug Malakin, Yuya Pasio, Denise Ayaka, Yuki Superlek, Stamp Kana, the grappling thing, Giancarlo Bodoni, and Rafael Lovato Jr. A few other matches I know that are signed for that card have not been announced yet. You're probably looking at a bigger card than usual, maybe 13, 14, 15 fights. So what have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Half the card probably officially announced already. I know a few other fights, so I think maybe we've got room for 3, max 4 more fights to be added to that card. I have a feeling Haggerty and Nabil will be added to this card. I don't know for a fact, but I know that fight is Chatri pretty much confirmed it's been signed, and Haggerty has alluded to it. From what I understand, yes, that fight is signed. I think that will land on this card. So you would have your 5 title fights, and then you have Yuki, Superlex, Stamp Kana. I mean, that's a killer main card, shall we say. Those top 7 fights are incredible. And then you would have 7 fights perhaps below that, a prelims, if you will, with the grappling fight. And then I expect to see some of the people you saw last time in Japan on this card. I know, a few fights, as I've said, that have been signed for this. So I think Christian Lee will land on a different event. And that means, one will be doing, let's say, 1174, Chatri also dropped a social post about that perhaps being signed and agreed. So things are in the works, guys. I know it's been a tough year in terms of big one events. The year started really on fire. We had January, February, March, big shows, Bangkok, Qatar, Japan. Things have gone a little quiet, it's fair to say. We were meant to have Denver last week. That didn't happen. And then we've got Japan in November. But that's a long stretch from March to November without a big show. It's not been announced yet, but I think you're all going to enjoy some of the announcements coming soon. This usually happens with one. They have a big start to the year, in recent times, and then things slow down a bit, picks up again second half of the year. So don't worry. And, to be honest, the Fight Night 35 card, I think it is, next month is actually pretty good as well. Stacked, I shall say. Well, we're on the page. We can look at it. Where is it? Jackie and Stella title fight headlining, but below that you've got a really intriguing fight there. Vampire and Shadow, number one contenders fight, I would imagine, for Tawan Chai. Akbar and Ibrahim Dawev. So I don't know what's going on with Tankai, but Akbar clearly just wants to fight. He is the champion in all but name, really, after destroying Tankai in January, whenever it was. I thought maybe this could be an interim title fight. If Tankai isn't going to fight, then I don't know, maybe he's injured. I would have done an interim thing here, but maybe they think Ibrahim Dawev is not deserving of an interim shot. I don't know. He's had a couple, I think 3 wins now in one. He missed weight for 2 of his last 3 fights. One of those fights fell through because of the weight miss, but he's won the last 2 since then. Missed weight for one of them again, even though it was featherweight. He's coming out from bantamweight, but he got with conditioned nutrition for the last fight with Pedro Dantas, and he made weight easy, as everyone does who works with Pete. And here he is on the cusp of maybe getting a title shot in featherweight. But Akbar is monstrous. It's a tough task. Rambolek Dmitry Kovtun has been rebooked. Yes, that was going to happen, I think, a couple months ago, but Rambolek got sick or injured. Something happened. I think he was sick. Adrian Lee, Tai Rutolo, as we reported previously on Bangkok Post. Yes, that was going to happen. It's official. Johan Ghazali is back against Zakaria El Jamari. Tough one for Jojo that, he's not looked too good in his last few fights. And Zakaria, well, he's looked good at times, but I still think he has work to do. Zakaria can be a difficult opponent. We've seen before. He beat Tongpoon. It depends. It really depends. I could see Zakaria getting a shock win there. I don't know what you do with Jojo if that happens. Do you send him back to Friday fights? I don't think you can. He's too big a star, and I think they have big plans for him. I see the matchmaking here as one thinking he should get a win here, and in all likelihood he should. But Zakaria is not a joke. He's not like. I mean, I don't want to be too mean, but I think some of the guys Jojo's been matched up with have been layups, and he's been able to beat some of them. He's not beaten others, and eventually you can't just keep giving someone fights on paper that seem to be easy. If they are as big a star as you think they should be, they're going to have to climb the ranks. And, I thought Jojo did really well against the other Johan, Estupinan. I was a little shocked with the Diego result, I think that was a step back for Jojo. But I think, like I said, he looked very impressive against Estupinan, who is good, very good fighter. Little raw, as we saw with the fight against Taiki Naito. But, I think Ghazali has a big point to prove here, and he should get back on track. Zakaria is a beatable opponent for him, but Zakaria could also frustrate Jojo and get a result, as we say. Tagira against Hugh, Macarena Aragon hanging around from her last fight last month to fight Natalie Salcedo of the US. So I quite like that card. Let me know your thoughts on it. I haven't really talked about Japan and all these big announcements, so we can have a little talk about that as well if people want to. I'm just going to have a little look at the comments here. Sorry. The comeback would have been sick. Oh, I did that. Also, maybe at the end, any chance one can get better distribution deals now that UFC is going to Paramount? AV Mail asks. Well, yeah, one is still with Prime Video, which I think is a great deal for them. I'm sure they'd like more money out of that, but the deal runs through another couple of years. So there was talk, astonishing, I thought, when people were reporting that One and Amazon were going to part ways. The deal was up at the end of this year. It's completely false. It runs through to 2028. I reported at the time when it was signed in 2022 whatever it was, August 2022, I think. Yeah, I would have been in. Yeah, I was when I was in Phuket at the time. It was a 5-year deal, so it runs through to 2027, summer of 2027, something like that. 5-year deal, and that has not changed. It's a 5-year deal, so this deal will go on. So they're still on Amazon in the US. But all the doom mongers, naysayers that say one is in crisis, one is doomed, yada yada. I get the points. There are some criticisms that are fair of one you can point to, but saying the Amazon deal is running out is factually incorrect. And if you report that, you are being irresponsible. I would change. I'm just saying that it is not true. You can ask people, you can verify information if you're going to report something like that. It is not true. But will they get better distribution deal now UFC is going to Paramount? I don't know if that has an effect. I mean, 7.7 billion is crazy money. That is more than Paramount is worth. I believe I read somewhere. I think Paramount is worth 6 billion. You've got to imagine Trump has some part in this. CBS seems to be wooing Donald Trump, the president of the US. There's the kind of shenanigans going on with South Park as well involved in that. But yeah, it's a great deal for UFC, and it's not going to be on pay-per-view in the US anymore. Fans are going to save a lot of money. Superb deal. I think those streaming platforms are the future for sports rather than the network deals, TV. So yeah, I think Prime Video and One is a good home for them. If they can renew that contract, maybe double the money at least, or whatever. I'm sure they'll have a bigger figure in mind. But yeah, I think One should be happy where they are. They're not going to get $7 billion. Let's be honest. In the US, I think my whole thing with One, and I'm very open about this, is they should focus on what got them to the dance. I know they've tried to push into the US recently, and it was a little bit curtailed by the pandemic. But when I first started covering One, they were pushing into Japan. That was the big market they wanted, and they did 2 brilliant shows out there. Things were looking rosy. Boom, COVID hit. And Japan was one of the last places to come back from COVID. They had very, very strict rules. I mean, you remember the Olympics, right? It was sort of pushed back a year, and then still it was empty and no fans, things like that, I think. Very strict. I remember I had a couple of colleagues from SCMP, Sport Desk, Johnny White, Paul Riding, who went out, and they were in the media there, and they were telling me how strict the restrictions were. So yeah, crazy. But they came back eventually as a market for One, and we had 2 big events there now. Last January, Superlek Takeru, and March this year, Takeru Rodtang. We're going back again November. So I think Japan is fully back in play, and you see what's happening with the Unex deal, Friday fights, a lot of Japanese fighters every week on that, and some big talent coming through from Japan, like Hugh, who we just showed on, who'll be fighting next month. It's always some great action. Yuki Yoza signed, going to be on November's show. Noiri going to be on the show. It's all about Japan and one of the big markets. So yeah, my big thing is, one, don't forget the US, but go back to what got you to the dance. Go back to Japan. Focus on taking Japan and becoming. I think it's safe to say One is sort of the biggest promotion in Thailand, pretty much. I don't think there's much. You could argue, but I don't think. You look at the TV ratings, things like that. I would like to see them do more shows at Impact Arena, but I think, yeah, they are dominant there. It's fair to say. I think they're getting to that point in Japan. They're taking all the best talent from all the Japanese kickboxing and striking orgs. The big thing is, can they kind of compete with Ryzen in terms of MMA there? That's, for me, they got to start poaching some of the best Japanese MMA talent. They have Yuya Wakamatsu, they have some others, but can they take a few big names from there? That would be a real show of intent for me. Try and enter that market. Take Japan, but also, for me, get back to the other markets that got you where you were, which was the Philippines or Manila, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. I don't know about Singapore, whether that's still in play. One's headquarters is still there. For me, Singapore is a difficult place to go. Always, it's tough to sell out a crowd there. But I think with people like, obviously in Philippines, there's no trouble for one to sell out a show. You got Denise Samboanga, Josh Pasio. You still got the Team Lakai legends who are now at Lions Nation. They're not champions anymore, most of them, just Pasio, but you've still got a lot of talent you can fill a card with, like Stephen Lohman, Jeremy Pakatu. Folayang, the legend, still hanging around. So Kevin Bellingon. You can get some nostalgic fights, but also some good quality up-and-comers there. You still got the Team Lakai themselves. They're producing some new talent, like Carlos Bumina Ang. And then you've got Islay, Erica Bomagao. She's coming through, a huge star on Friday Fights for one. I think she could definitely be on the Manila card if you had that. There's Jackie Buntan, of course, American Filipino. She is a champion. She could be a two-sport champ soon. So yeah, it's very easy for me to do a big show in Manila. I don't know how they haven't been back for so long now. And then yeah, Malaysia I think is an easy one. You've got Jojo. You've got Alif, who's also crazy popular there. And you could do Alif versus Prajanchai for the strawweight Muay Thai belt. I know Alif was talking to the Malaysian Prime Minister recently. That's how popular this guy is. I swear I caught up with Alif at Lumpini last time I was there a couple weeks ago. We chatted to him briefly. Yeah, he was talking to the Malaysian Prime Minister. Crazy. You've got Rifdeen Mastor, another young up-and-comer from Malaysia on Friday Fights. Very popular. They could, and then you could put a guy like Christian Lee, I think, on that card. You could sell that out. I remember when Christian Lee won the welterweight MMA title. It was something like November 2023 or 22. Sorry, yes, 2020, November 2022 in Singapore. He beat Kiamran Nabati, that crazy comeback win. I was still working at SCMP at the time, and I wrote the article and some of the reaction articles. Me and Tom Taylor kind of double teamed that. Shout out to Tom Taylor, the OG, who, we miss Tom Taylor in this space. He is one of the most incredible reporters covering one championship there's ever been. I don't know how he's not doing anything to cover one. He's a free agent again. I'm gonna try my best to get him back in the game. So I want to have him here with me. I'm gonna see what I can do with Tom. But he's a free agent. He needs to be covering one. Everyone says to me, I'm the GOAT reporter covering one. I think Tom Taylor's the GOAT reporter covering one. He's the best writer, I think, who's ever covered it. I love Tom's writing. When I was at S&P and I had a little team of freelancers, and Tom was my best freelancer by far. I didn't have to change a word of his writing. He's a great dude as well. I would love to see him back covering one again. But anyway, yeah, we covered this Christian Lee title, and there's hundreds of thousands of page views from Malaysia on these articles we did about Christian. Hundreds of thousands, maybe a million, for at least 500,000. It was crazy how popular Christian Lee is in Malaysia. So, I think you could take Christian Lee there, and I'm sure his brother Adrian Lee could be a good asset for you there as well. Because the Malaysia was one of the big markets in the early days of one championship. They remember the Lee family. They were big into Angela Lee, who's now retired, obviously. So, yeah, I think they could do really well in Malaysia. Indonesia, I don't know about. They haven't really got any Indonesian stars. That was a market for them before. China, obviously, they'd love to get into China, but no one's really doing that right now. So I don't know. I would focus on Philippines, Malaysia, getting back in there, and then keep pushing with Japan and obviously Thailand. Have those four, and you can do your one show a year in the US, Denver. I mean, that's the most expensive one. You'd probably be tough to even get a profit there, but I think you can make your profits elsewhere, and then it's worth just, even if you lose money on the US show, just do it, but don't try to do 4 shows a year there. It's just impossible right now. I think UFC is the clear number one. Obviously, we just saw $7.7 billion deal. So yeah, it's going to be tough to dislodge them. Anyway, I think everyone's struggling with the UFC. PFL is now going regional, right? They're doing PFL Africa first show the other week. There's PFL, Pacific, which is New Zealand, Australia, things like that. There's PFL Europe. I'm sure there'll be a PFL Asia at some point. They're doing regional shows in those countries and then bringing them to America for super shows. Saudi Arabia, things like that. PFL MENA. It's tough to just go toe to toe with UFC in America. It really is. And UFC is as big as it is for a reason. And I'm sure, I know they put pressure on commissions not to approve one's rule set, things like that. It's difficult for one to get. So I think, Colorado is an easy state for one to go to. They should just focus on going there to keep their presence in America, but build yourself up in those key Asian markets again. What's wrong with being Asia's number one? Asia is huge. Asia's, most one fans are from Asia. Myanmar obviously would be a huge market for one if it was possible to still go there, because Ong Lau is retiring soon, I think, but you've got a new generation of Myanmar fighters, like we were talking about earlier. You've got Tanzin, Solid, Veronica. There's going to be more and more and more. Anyway, that was a long answer. Sorry. Hometown fight. I can't remember what official Lewis this is in reference to. Will's here. Got a split early. No problem, man. Yeah, I know it's late out there on the West Coast. Good luck with the rest of the show. We'll watch back tomorrow. Yeah. Thanks for watching, man. And I'll try to start these morning shows a little bit earlier. I think it was 11:30 start this time. I'm going to try to start by 10:30. I was a bit late today. I was figuring out all these new things on StreamYard. Should rematch the guy he eye poked, Anonymous says, of Christian Lee. Yeah, that's I'm down for that. Ali Beg and Christian Lee. Accidentally commented with my personal account. Yeah, that's Will. Go follow Will on. But yeah, Will is mainly talking through story of the fight. Great dude. Oh man, get ready to eat some chili crab and chicken rice. Sounds good to me. A female. Chummy Boy says, do Superlek, will he have to defend his 135 kickboxing belt at some point? Seems everything was set up for 145. He should, or I would strip him of the belt soon. If he shows no willingness to defend that belt, it's now been 18 months. So I know there was talk of Superlek going back down to flyweight in one. I don't think he wants to do it. He likes to eat like most human beings. Superlek loves bantamweight. The problem with Superlek is I think there is one guy in bantamweight who is just too big for him. That is Nabil. I think Superlek can get away with it against Haggerty, as we saw against guys like Nico, who's now gone up to featherweight. I think Superlek would have beaten Nico. There's other big bantamweights, of course. Nabati, who we'll talk about soon. More coming through. But I think Superlek could probably have both belts at bantamweight. I mean, I do love Haggerty as well. And I think a rematch with Haggerty and Superlek in Muay Thai would be a lot different. But I think Superlek, if everything went his way, could be a double champ at bantamweight. So could Haggerty. But I'd love to see that rivalry continue. But yeah, I just think Superlek's days in flyweight possibly are numbered. So I would vacate that belt, or at least get an interim going. You could have. There's a few people you could do for an interim belt there. But I think Superlek could easily get down to flyweight if he wanted. He just have to hire condition nutrition again. Who the hell are the grapplers? Anonymous says. I'm not too clued up about them, but Will from Story of the Fight said that's if you like your grappling, that's a good matchup. Heard whispers of Suakin being on the Japan card too. It's a bit late to book it, but would be cool. It's more than whispers, NG. I'll say that. Yeah, I think he's going to be on that card. I can't say much more than that, to be honest. But he had a pretty bad eye injury against Zafar Sayek last event. See how that heals. If he's good to go, yeah, I would. I know who he's gonna fight there, so it'll be announced. If he's okay, I think he'll be on that card. I can't say much more. Sorry, Anonymous. Have they announced anything for October and November's Fight Night events? I don't think they've announced it. I have heard things. Sorry, that's my catchphrase. Isn't it? I've heard this. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with some of that. I've heard some really cool fights for those. Not November. I know October. A couple of nice fights that have been lined up. Yeah, you'll enjoy some of them. Seems the fight nights are getting a bit more busy now, a bit more stacked, which I like to see. Not that they haven't been great recently, but they're definitely a bit of a lull over the summer. Star names on that, but like I said, next month's one's pretty cool. Hopefully they keep that going. Anonymous, I presume grappling headliner and non-title bouts for October, November. As far as I know, I don't think that's the case, but we'll see. November's obviously going to be the focus is on Japan, so yeah, the November fight night card might be a little weak. Budget will definitely be in Japan. Anonymous says Tenkai is traumatized. He should just surrender his belt like Superlet did. Well, yeah, if he's not going to fight, there needs to be an interim belt going on. You know, because he got his ass handed to him by Akbar, it's fair to say. So if he's injured now or if he's refusing to fight, either way, you make a interim belt. Japan definitely has momentum. I can feel it. AV Mail says, yes, for sure. Anatoly, my guy. Hi, Nick. Who's the next opponent for Christian Lee? Kadistan. I honestly have no idea. I would have liked it to be in Kadistan, but Kadistan botched the weigh-ins for his fight with Issei Fitikefu, so that fight was cancelled. He was not allowed to fight. I remember at the time, yeah, he looked very uneasy. Even when I spoke to him in the pre-fight interview, he was a little bit. You could tell he was a little out of it. He had been inactive, obviously, for 2 years by that point, so probably was a tough weight cut. And then he came in, weighed in, he was over or dehydrated. Doctor wouldn't let him come back, is what I heard. In fact, yeah, I think they sent a nurse or a medical official to Kadistan's room to check on him, and they did some tests there. I don't think he was allowed to come back and keep cutting weight, which for all the detractors of one championships, weigh-in system and hydration said blah, 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 blah. I know it has its faults, yes, but they do prevent people from serious health risks. Before every weigh-in for one fight night event, Dr. Warren Wang goes out and he does a bit of a rah-rah speech in front of all of them, telling them, don't try and cheat. Don't try and fool us. Don't try and cheat the system. If you are cutting too much weight, we will not let you weigh in. We don't want you to die. We don't want you to. One championship had a fighter die while trying to cut weight years and years and years ago. This is why they implemented the hydration system. And people who knock it, fair enough. It does cause a bit of headaches in terms of fights, but no one is getting seriously sick from weight cutting in one. It's just impossible to do such a serious cut and still make it. Even with some of the tricks of the trade that people are trying, you can't cut that much to die or get in a coma, as we've seen some fighters happen in other organizations in recent times. So you may not be a fan of the hydration system. I am not a huge fan of it because it causes a lot of fights to fall through or be changed. But fair play, it stops serious health issues. And Kazakhstan was one who, if he had pushed too much, could have been seriously risking his health. And last 2 weeks ago, whenever I was there, Sona Sen, I was at the face-offs, and he collapsed almost on the floor, pretty much fainted. Like he sat down on the floor while they were lining up So before Friday fights face-offs individually, they get them all out in a row to line up across their opponent, and they film a little thing you may have seen on Thai social media, one's account. They kind of go past each pair of fighters, and before they could film that, Sonosen collapsed on the floor from what was presumably, struggling with his weight cut. And I was right next to him when he did it, and I was one of the people who helped him get on a chair and helped him get some water. And even then, he spat the water out because he's got to weigh in after the face-off. Helped him lie down across 3 chairs, and I helped get I was like, can you get him a medical help? And they weren't they didn't face off, him and Warapon, and it looked like the fight would be off, but he was allowed to weigh in once, and once only. This is what I was told. He would be allowed to weigh in. If he made it and passed hydration, they would let him fight. If he was over at all, they would not let him come back and try again, and they would have cancelled the fight. And I think that is very fair, and I think very responsible. They're trying their best to keep the fight on, which is good for fans and good for Warapon, his opponent. But if it comes at they're not going to let it happen at the risk of danger to Sonosen, the fighter. So yeah, he passed, but he looked like dog shit in the fight, and Warapon pretty easily defeated him, won the trilogy. Mehdi was not happy with Sonosen. His teammates weren't happy. We saw them all. I was outside stadium after, and they walked past, and they were like, that was bad. Yeah. They weren't happy with his performance. He wasn't happy. He knew he messed up. I wonder if he'll still fight at that weight again. I'm not sure. But yeah, long point again. But yeah, one's hydration thing, it can be annoying, but it helps save fighters from themselves. Okay, Crystal Lewis. Can we really say one has taken Japan when they have to put up 5 title fights and more to sell out the 12K stadium? If you put 5 title fights on any country, I'm sure it would sell out too, though. I don't know if it would. I think one could have sold out Japan cards purely on Rodtang Takeru, and they did. The 5 title fights, in addition to that, is just to, I think, make a statement and sell pay-per-views as well in Thailand, which, before there was the infamous pay-per-view breakdown. But I think if that had held up, they would have made a nice chunk of change there from the Thai market. I think they sold 300,000 pay-per-views in Thailand alone. They would have netted them, you do the math, whatever it was, 200 baht times 300,000 equals 60 million Thai baht. What is that in USD? 60 million baht in USD is nearly 2 million US dollars. So that would have been nice for one to have. But yeah, it messed up. So you're hoping this time they have the pay-per-view holds up in November. So that's why I think they add all these title fights. And it obviously creates talk and buzz and chatter online and makes people want to watch the whole show. And they're not able to do big cards before that. You may as well stack them up. I agree with their matchmaking policy there. I think if you put the exact same card on in Singapore, sorry to bag on Singapore, Lewis, I don't think it sells out just because it's not a fight town. It's not it's not a good fight market for one. Thailand is, Japan is. I think Malaysia can be if they have Malaysian stars on it. Philippines, similar. Anyway, excuse me. Myanmar show incoming, maybe, AV Mail says. I hope so, AV Mail. I would love to go, but I know the political situation there is tough. It's such a huge shame. I mean, maybe it's changed lately. I don't know. You tell me. But, I mean, I don't think one will be going there anytime soon. If it's like it has been the last few years with the military coup and all that. Such a shame, though, because, yeah, Ong La and Sang was Cristiano Ronaldo level popular there, Probably bigger than Ronaldo is in Portugal, Ong La is in Myanmar, which is saying something. Aiden Ong, what's up? Says, as a big fan from Singapore, we need an event in Singapore. It's been ages since the last one. Put Christian in. I wouldn't be averse to it, Aiden. And yeah, if that is the show Christian lands on, I would love, love, love to go back to Singapore. It's been too long since I was there. I think I missed the one when Stamp won the belt. I wasn't allowed to go by SCMP. I was kept in Hong Kong, which is part of the reason I went freelance in the end, because I didn't want to miss the big shows, you know. But I was made to stay to be sat in the office covering the Asian games, which was a big deal at the time for Hong Kong. But personally, for me, I didn't want to sacrifice going to such big cards in one championship. That is my career. I want. That's what I'm doing now. But that's a side story. Anyway, I would. So yeah, I haven't been since March 2023 when Superleg fought Daniel Williams in the main event. Yeah, I want to go back. I would love that. You know, if it's not 8 a.m. or whatever, 7 a.m., I think they could do. There could be a chance they can pack that arena out. If it's 8 a.m. again, I just wouldn't bother. I know these numbered events are now back on in Asia prime time, which is how it should be. You know, but there was a time when even last summer when they did Bangkok Impact Arena, it was 8 a.m. start, ridiculous. Just, and then they did it in January in primetime Asia. The vibe was so much better. And you know, Japan thankfully is primetime. But I've been to morning Japan cards and they suck as well in terms of time. Cars are always good, but it's just hard to get people in an arena. Then you can do it, but it's you have to. You're not going to get the maximum gate you can get if you do it in prime time. Anyway, I think we had that message already. NG, any news on the big man Marat? Last time we heard of him was a cancelled fight versus Kaito. Would love to see the guys punches smash some more people. No update on that, actually, NG. I'll keep my ear to the ground. Aiden Ong says, Friday night event will make the stadium fully packed. Is that Singapore? Well, if Friday night is the key to Singapore being packed, let's do that. I would love to go back. Yeah, maybe Saturday. It's definitely better than the Saturday morning. But if Friday night's better than Saturday night, why not? All right, I have been dragged off course a little bit. I did want to talk about some things, so I will briefly talk about my Nabati interview. So it's funny because I did that interview with him like a month ago at least. Yeah, I think it was a month ago, nearly actually. Yeah, after Fight Night 33, and completely forgot about it because we kind of did it outside the stadium, as you can see if you've watched it on my YouTube channel. We did it. Yeah, it wasn't even backstage with the screen behind us. So he was there with Vladimir Kuzmin, and he was watching Darkayev, his little bro, and I think his teammates, obviously, with Alicia Rodriguez, who was headlining. So he did that. He went to, I think he cornered Kuzmin, but yeah, he was there. He saw me, and he's like, Nick, let's do an interview. And you know, I got love for Cameron. I know, you know, you have your say what you want about him with the doping ban, but he got caught, and he's serving his time. And I'm fine with fighters who get caught, who do their time, and then they come back. As long as they're not caught again, it's fine by me. I know a lot of people are going to say he's a cheater and he's been caught other times outside of one. Say what you want. I'm not here to judge or cast an opinion. I like him as a person, and he's a interesting guy. And I'm happy to give the stage to anyone. And yeah, I'm happy to interview anyone who wants to help out. And it was a fun interview. Anyway, yeah, I forgot about it because I remember, I think I went straight off on holiday after that. And so he messaged me the other day, said, oh, I haven't done an interview. And I said, oh, shit, yeah. So I worked that out. And then I clipped up a little bit. Stuff about Nabil and Haggerty. Anyway, here's the article. You can go read on bangkokpost.com if you want to. Or you can check my socials. I got some clips up there. and graphics. But the thrust of it is, Kiamran Nabati says Nabil Anan is not the real champ until they fight. He's eyeing a February 26th return and has words for Haggerty, Superlek, and newly crowned champ Nabil. Yes, the thrust of it says, I want to send a message to Nabil, who is the champion now. Nabati told me, Bangkok Post, Nabil deserves to be champion. Okay, no problem. But if he doesn't fight with me, I don't think he deserves this title. After a fight with me, we will see. I will take this belt. I respect Nabil. Nothing else, but this belt should be on my body, you know? Nabil was elevated from interim champion in June, obviously. After all that faff with Superlek and Tokyo. Chatri has, of course, since hinted it's Haggerty versus Nabil next. But Nabati also took aim at Haggerty. He said, Haggerty, go. He hide. I don't know. Honestly, he hide. I don't know where he is. He fight with Superlek, and after that, we don't see him in Muay Thai. If they give me Haggerty, I will eat him like it's my breakfast. Also talked about maybe fighting Superlek first before a title shot. So, yeah, that was the Nabati story, and caused a little bit of shockwaves, I think. I mean, I didn't actually see where this was, but I'm reliably informed, that Haggerty responded to it because Tetsuya actually, he's not in the chat right now, Tetsuya, which is rare, but he posted this, which included my quote from Nabati on geez, how do I do this? Okay, I'm gonna have to do that again. He included my quote from Nabati on Haggerty, sorry. And then apparently Haggerty responded. I didn't see where he responded, whether he deleted it, but Haggerty said in response to that, why is this so funny? You went the distance with Nongo and was on steroids. So yeah. I was looking to see if Haggerty replied to my thing on Instagram or if he shared it on the story. Maybe he deleted it. I don't know. He tends to do that sometimes. But yeah, that was funny. A bit of beef. I love starting a bit of beef. And then I put out. I got a lot of comments on my original post of it, which you can see on my Instagram here. A lot of people were in the comments. Freddie Haggerty says, people talk too much, especially when they're on a ban. That is Jonathan's brother. Nabati himself said, see you soon, my haters. A lot of people were unhappy in the comments here, saying, he's been suspended, But there it is. I'm just putting it out there. Just putting it out there. And then another one, my piece with Nabati here. You can see I put the video out there.
To Nabil, who is champion now. Nabil deserves to be champion. Okay, no problem. But
coming through my.
If they not fight with me, I think he don't deserve this title shot. After fight with me, we will see, and I will take this belt. I respect Nabil. Nothing else, but this belt should to be on my body.
So there it is. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but there's subtitles so you can read it. That was, you can see the trash behind us. We were right by the trucks. I thought it would be a cool little shot. You see the TV trucks, and then my girlfriend saw it. It's like, why have you shot this interview in front of the trash? I didn't see that. But it was a cool little interview with Kiamran, and love him or hate him, he's a great fighter. I want to see how he does. If presumably he's going to be fighting clean when he comes back. Is he going to have the same momentum? I think it's fair to say we saw Ben Tynan after his year-long doping suspension came back, Didn't look too good against Kirill Grushenko, who's a tough opponent, though, let's be honest. But Ben looked different, shall we say, appearance wise and also his performance wise. So it could be different for Cameron. We'll see. We'll see. Another fight that's dropped for next week's Friday fights. Teng Leung against Maxime Bakhtin, who I really like, actually. Bakhtin. I think he's a big star of the future for one. And, Ursel is looking for new lightweights. Here's two. Here's two guys that I think will both come up through Friday fights and be on the main roster. Teng Leung obviously already fought Dmitry Menshikov, got knocked out, but Menshikov then popped himself. More doping ban action. Yeah, Bakhtin is a good fighter. I like him. And he collapsed, so we like him even more. There you go. That should be a good one, I think, as someone said in the comments. Someone's going to sleep. Oh, there you go. BMR cars. Amazing fight. Someone getting KO'd. 1,000%. I agree. Yes. But the main reason we're here is this card. I'm going to preview that. Let me know your thoughts on Haggerty, Nabati, Nabil. I can quickly go through any comments now if you have them. Otherwise, I'm just going to preview this. Friday Fights 120 card quickly. Here it is on my Instagram. I wonder if they've got a full card on their website. Oh, they do. But a lot of them don't have pictures on there. Let's go to their page. It's fun. Okay. There it is. One Friday Fights 120. I should click that, shouldn't I? Okay. Yodlek Pet. Pompet. Main event. Flyweight Muay Thai. That should be a fun one. And then, like we talked about already, Ging Sanlek against Tanzine. I think that'll be a knockout there. Was meant to be last week. Ging Sanlek was sick. Ging Sanlek obviously coming off that highlight reel KO of the year. Wrap up that competition already. It's done against Alexei Balako, the spinning back elbow. Wuti Cry against Mohamed Taufik. Brazil against Kasan Solomov, one of the twins. I think both the twins on this card, yes. Kasan and Kusen Solomov. Kusen is fighting Rocky Kangaroo Muay Thai, great name. And Kasan is fighting Brazil, another great name. Zhao Insi PK Sanchai against Yodanu Cha Por Prajansi. I hope I pronounced both of those correctly. A lot of PK fighters recently, I think, on this card too. And then, as we mentioned before, So Nong U from Myanmar and Ha Ling Om from Myanmar against Omar El Halabi and Jirai Ishii, respectively. Omar El Halabi, one to watch from Venom, I think, Lebanese fighter. I like Ishii as well from Japan. Zhang Haiyang against Gump, brilliant name, Gump. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Forrest Gump reference there. Interesting fact, I once watched Forrest Gump twice in one day. Why, you ask? Well, I studied film at university, and we would have screenings every week for films. And so one of my classes, we would have the screening in the morning, and then you'd come back after lunch and talk about it in the lecture. And then I think I'd had a heavy night of drinking or something, at university, as you all want to do, and couldn't muster the strength to crawl out of bed and get into the campus to watch the film that week, which was Forrest Gump. And love the film. I've seen it many times, but I was like, oh, I'll watch it at home. I love it, and then I'll go in and go to the lecture. So I watched the film at home, and I went in to campus because I lived not too far away. I can't remember what year it was, but I went to uni in London. So if it was my master's, I think I lived at my parents' house during my master's. But during the 3 years of my undergrad, I lived in other parts of London. Anyway, yeah, went in for what I thought would be the class, and then get there. It's actually the screening of Forrest Gump. And I'm like, what happened? Like, oh yeah, we moved things around. So this week we're doing the screening in the afternoon, not the morning. So I watched Forrest Gump twice in the space of about 6 hours, back to back, and incredible film. I love it. Love a bit of Tom Hanks. Just more trivia. Recently watched Castaway for the first time. You know, who am I? Everyone's seen Castaway, right? It's 25 years old, I think. Finally saw it. Finally got what it's about. Got the buzz. Tom Hanks, OG, legend. Great film. Not too sure about the ending. But anyway, I digress. Jang Seung Gyu, hope I pronounced that right, against Sador Karimboev, and then Arti Katri against Itsuki Hirata, the returning Android 18, who is in the thumbnail of this video, of course. You might be wondering, why is Itsuki there? Well, this is the reason. She is opening up the card on Friday. I'm hoping to speak to her this week, before and after the fight. We'll see what happens, but we'll see. Itsuki Hirata, yes, been a tough time for her lately. She has, let's say, hey, I had a tough time. Coming off 3 losses now. She considered retirement, like we said, after losing to Victoria Souza at 167 in June 2024. I was there. She did not look great. Got submitted as well, like choked out by Vic Souza, who is a pocket rocket from Brazil. Shout out to Vic as well. She's just gave birth recently to her first child. I'm sure she'll be back hopefully next year, something like that. That was a great win for her, but it was an upset to say the least. And yeah, after that was coming after she lost to Ayaka in a pretty boring fight in Tokyo, and then Ham So-hee in a boring fight in Singapore. Before that, she'd been on a bit of a roll. She had a comeback against Lin Hshin. Lost a split to Jihin. Both of those fights, she missed weight, I think. And then, obviously, there's all that drama with Ham So-hee. The first time they were booked, I was there. That was November or September 23, Singapore. And she missed weight or failed hydration, whatever you want to call it. And Ham refused to fight. And that was a huge story at the time. I remember it blew up. And on SCMP, I wrote the article. Yeah, I remember the traffic was crazy. Big story. Yeah, so refused to fight. They eventually did it again. Both of them passed hydration, made weight, but the fight was terrible. But before that, yeah, Itsuki was one of the kind of golden girls of One Championship. She was tipped for very big things. I remember from the beginning. She got a few layups early on. As you can see, Rika Ashige made very quick work of her first 2 opponents, and then the Nyreen Crowley got 3 finishes, and then she beat Elise Anderson in the Atomweight Grand Prix, and Elise is a tough customer. She got that was the first round, I think, or quarterfinal, and then she didn't fight in the semis. I think she got an injury, so an alternate came in, and things just haven't gone her way since then. Yeah, I don't know what it is. She's bounced around a few gyms since then, I think, and she's still young though. That's the interesting thing. She's 25 years old, which is in MMA you can come back from that, and I'm happy she's back. I love Itsuki. Obviously, everyone loves her. She's very popular, an attractive lady to say the least, of course. But I like her fighting style. When she's on, she's interesting, and she gets the crowd into the fights, into the promotion. So yeah, I'm excited to see her back, and I think this is really a sink or swim for her. If she can't beat Arti Katri here, I don't know what you do with her, because look, Arti Katri, with all due respect, debut in 1, but if I am correct. She's not fought in 4 years, and she has a 5-0 record, but is coming off a 4-year layoff. I'm going on Tapology here, so as you can see there, last fight was in September 2021, and she's been on the Indian regional scene, it looks like. So I know she signed with Brave, I think, early this year, but nothing came of it. I don't think she fought, so she's now in one. And there it is. You would say this is a layup for Itsuki, but let's see what the destroyer RT Katri can do. If RT beats Itsuki, I think Itsuki might retire because she should be winning this fight. Let's be honest. Fair play to RT Katri, but Itsuki should win this fight. But anyway, that is the card. We will see how Itsuki gets on. We will see if she has any weigh-in issues. I don't think she will. She seemed to get that in working order for the last fight. So let's see what happens. Anonymous says, layup opponent for Hirata. Hopefully she can win. She has to win, I think. I think if she wins, they might throw her on the Japan card. Chatri seems to have a habit of that. They might give her a nice fight, a showcase in Japan. Because Itsuki winning is good for one. It brings them views, money, all that good stuff. Itsuki losing is no good. But is she good enough to go up against the best girls at Atkin? I don't know. She's struggled whenever she's been matched with a top level fighter in one, aka Ayaka, Jihin as well. But that was years ago. Maybe she's improved since then. I'm glad she took time off. She took a year off to presumably think about if she wants to continue, but also improve, I hope, and work on her craft. Let's see. This could be Itsuki 3.0. I'm surprised she didn't retire, says AV Mail. I thought she might, but because she could do other things. As I said, an attractive lady, she could probably do modeling work, things like that. But she wants to fight, and we'll see if she's still got the fire. Right. Sewer Black returns in September. Wonder if it's on the tent pole. Official Lewis says. I think it is, yeah. I think it is. So, from what I know, I think there's a tent pole in late September. Nothing's been announced yet. But I think they're going to announce Rodtang versus Nongo on that card. I think it's very late September. I don't know. Nothing official yet, though. There's an Indian remake of Forrest Gump, Anonymous says. Shout out to Anonymous as well, another of my members. Appreciate the love and support. I'll have to watch that, Anonymous. I'll have to watch that. Hirata versus Macarena, Anonymous says, I think that would have been a better fight for her. Macarena is on the fight night next month, but who knows? I think they're just presumably Hirata's going to have some ring rust. I think they want to give her a layup, see how she does, and then move accordingly from there. Anonymous says she's undefeated, which means nothing if you look at her opponent records. I think this is RT Katri, as we just saw her Tapology record, especially in India. You said it, not me. Macarena is someone to watch in the atomweight division. She's very good. I like Macarena. There's no shame in getting submitted by Ayaka Miura, which she has been. And then the last fight as well, she got subbed by Chihiro Sawada, who's also very good. I just think I worry about her ground game. She kind of reminds me of Itsuki. She's got good judo. I think she's from a judo background. But once it gets to the ground, someone who's very skilled there can break through. And you can work on that. But is it ever going to be enough to beat someone like Ayaka, Chihiro, or Denise Sambuanga, who's the champ right now? We'll see. But I like Macarena. I saw her backstage after the last fight, crying. It was very sad to see. She was kind of slumped against the wall in the back, and I think she must have asked for this quick turnaround. And one seemed to like her. They've flown her out from South America a few times. What surprised me was Macarena brought a nutritionist with her all the way from bloody wherever she's from in South America. I've forgotten. Is it Argentina? And so this nutritionist flew out with her, Argentina, and she failed hydration. It's like, what are you doing? Yeah, just sign Pizza Miller, condition nutrition. He lives in Bangkok. He'll do it for you. Probably cheaper than flying someone from South America. Anyway. The chat. Going back to the chat quickly. And I'm going to wrap things up because we've done 1 hour 20. I didn't expect to go so long today. Dude, what's up with Smilla? Johnny Santos asks. Any news on her upcoming fight? Sorry if this was covered earlier. It's been a while since she missed weight, lost the belt, but won the fight. I'll be careful here, but Smilla Sundell left Fairtex a while ago. I think last year. And is now living in, I can't remember whether it's Vegas or Sweden. And as far as I know, she doesn't think there is a future for her. I'm trying to be careful with my words, in one championship. So her contract expired, I think, I was told, in June, something like that. Or, I think June. But there are things in one where contracts can be extended, officially and unofficially. You can have a matching rights period at the end of your contract, which means you can't sign with another organization. I think this is what happened with DeRidder, when there was all that fuss. He went and fought in Abu Dhabi or whatever it was, Warriors, and then he was still, I was told, under contract. That is because I think his contract had expired in the June or whatever that year, and then he just went off and fought. But you have a matching period, and he said, F that, I'm going to go fight anyway. Matching periods can last up to a year with some fighters. Some are shorter, like Buchecha had a shorter one, I think. And so in that time, basically one can match a contract. Any contract offer you receive, one can reserve the right to match it. And I think Smilla's in that phase now, I think. I know, or there are other ways your contract can be extended as well. If you are offered a fight and you turn it down, your contract can be extended. I think there was an attempt to make Smilla against Jackie Buntan, again, a rematch for Muay Thai belt. And now Jackie's fighting Stella Hemmetsberg, who's a kickboxer as well. But yeah, I think that was the plan. From what I know, Smilla said, I can't make the weight. I can't make straw weight anymore, which is what she said publicly too, that she was hoping for a flyweight division in one, and there was talk of that. It's difficult. There's not so many Asian fighters you can get for that weight. You have to fly them in from Europe, which is more expensive. There's talk Smilla might go to MMA as well. She's definitely got the striking. If she can add takedown defense to that, she could be a monster in that sport. So I wouldn't rule it out, Johnny, of Smilla coming back to one. If they commit to building a flyweight division for her. And the thing is, there's been frustration on Smilla's side for a long time now at lack of opportunities, lack of fights. After she lost the belt as well on the scale, her purse went down a bit. And I think if there can be guarantees she's going to fight 2-3 times a year and get the purse back up to whatever it was. Maybe get a flyweight belt for her middle of the division around. I'm sure she would sign, but she's young, so I'm sure she would. But she needs money. She wants to fight. She's not getting either at the moment. That's all I know. I don't know how it's going to end up. I'm sure we will find out soon. Honestly, though, it makes sense, and I'm not. This is from NG. I'm not dogging on her, but giving Kana to Stamp is rough. Kana surely has a fire in her to win Japan. I don't know. Just tough overall for Stamp, especially after a break. Yeah, I think it's a good fight for Stamp, kickboxing fight, and I see it's finally been confirmed, so I can talk about it now. This fight was originally, I knew this at the time, I couldn't say anything, but this fight was signed, I think the day after 1172 in March. The very next day, Kana obviously fought on that card and lost to Petjija. They offered her Stamp, and she signed the contract immediately, and that fight was going to take place in May. And you may recall around February or something like that, maybe it was early March, just before Japan, I interviewed Stamp, and she said I'm going to have a kickboxing tune-up in May, something like that. So that fight was on. Stamp signed, Kana signed. Then Stamp had her injury setback, which was obviously the reason the Denver card then got moved to next year, right? And the Denise fight the unification fight was called off. So yeah, that fight was going to happen in May. So Stamp was going to have her tune-up in May and then go fight Denise in August, and she was going to blow out the cobwebs in May. So this is still the plan for Stamp to shake up the ring rust. I think it's a great fight. To be honest, Kana should win, though. I think Stamp is going to be coming off a long layoff. 3 years. I think, is that right? 2 years. Yeah, and more than 2 years. You got to see if Kana is really the real deal. She should win this fight, and Stamp is not, primarily a kickboxer. She never has been. I think it should be a Kana win. I think it's a good fight. I'm not expecting Stamp to win. I think it's more about just getting some miles in the tank, on the clock, whatever you want to say. But yeah, I don't know. A bit brutal to hold Smilla up while she's so young, when there's no way for her to fight in one if she wanted to. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like, I would just release her. If you're not gonna build a division for her, I'd just release her now. Because I'd get her to sign an NDA, so she's not gonna trash one, and I'm sure she'd take that. I don't think she's gonna trash one if she left anyway. She's a pretty nice girl, but if you mess her around, who knows what she does. But I say this for everyone. I say it for Reese McLaren. If you have a fighter who, and you're not going to use them, and they, just let them go. Just go. It doesn't help anyone keeping them against their will, and you don't use them. Just let it go. Otherwise, it creates bad feelings among the fighters, who then say bad things about you. But if you let them go, they will say nice things about you. If you don't want to use them, yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. Just release or make a division for her. Anonymous says, I hope something can be agreed, because she was a friggin' monster. Definitely an exciting fighter. I know she was discussing going up a weight class. Yeah, I really hope she can agree it. She'd be an asset for one. Yeah, let's see. Thanks for covering more info on Smilla. I couldn't find anything about it. Yeah, this isn't reported anywhere. This is just things I've heard behind the scenes. I think there'll be some resolution with that situation relatively soon, in the next 3 months or so. Okay. Denver cars is what caused my drunken upset post. I was bummed the entire card was scrapped. I can't remember your drunken upset post. Point me to it. But yeah, that was a shame. I really wanted to go there as well. Let's hope one gets back on track with these big shows coming up this year, and starts next year strong. But I really want to see them maintain it. for a whole year, not have this stop start thing. But signs are going in the right, pointing in the right direction. Anyway, we're hitting that 1 hour 30 mark, which is my cue to get out of here. So I appreciate everyone watching. Sorry it's been so long, and thanks for tuning in even after such a long time away in a different time slot. I'll be back hopefully tomorrow, same time roughly, or a bit earlier. And I'm thinking of doing a Friday thing during the show, Friday fights for the first half. Might do a little watch along. Try and grab a couple post-fight interviews. Presuming Itsuki wins, get Itsuki, maybe a couple others. We'll see. But yeah, either way, enjoy Friday. I'll be back tomorrow to have a little chat, maybe cover the weigh-ins and hydrations for one Friday fights. But I appreciate you all. Catch you in a bit. Thank you for watching. All right.